skies to Cape Town, Dubai, spinning records, making the crowd fly high. Everybody move to the rhythm, feeling so fine. Cheese boys taking over, it's our time to shine. Cheese boys in the morning, feeling high. Jump up, get down, let the music amplify, dancing all night. Grooving to the sound, walk one happy beat. Let's get down on the ground.
Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what it is?
What it is, big man, you're alive and kicking.
Yeah, man. I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling rested. Yeah.
As the people who go on leave, they come with so much energy when they haven't been working like the rest of us.
Yeah. Gumnandi, not being in someone's employ. Waking up whenever you want, going to the gym whenever you want. Although gym hasn't been great because all of us are on holiday, so like it's full in the middle of the day, which sucks. Yeah. So it's kind of like
okay.
You'd rather go in early on holidays because everybody and their mothers are in there, you know, at the beginning of the day, and that's not great. It's not great.
It's not ideal.
No, it's not.
No, I like it here in winter. So I went the other day for the first time in like 2.5, 3 weeks. And the numbers have decreased.
Oh yeah,
which is
obvious.
Nice.
Obvious.
Yeah,
Our New Year's resolutions, typically June is the month they die. You know.
Also,
I went for half the year, but really it wasn't half the year. But anyway, we'll park
it
that for
wasn't.
another
So
day.
it's like it goes Jan, you go for like a week.
Yeah.
And then Feb, you go like every once in a while, and then like every now and again. And then March, maybe you'll still keep going, but the Viv is not run out. It's not like, whatever. The gym clothes are now just in the wardrobe somewhere. And then by the time you get to May, June, it starts getting cold, and then people are just
exactly
out of it. So show more these days. It's nice. Long may it continue.
This guy. Let me see here. Right, guys, welcome back. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite podcast with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo.
And my name is Senna.
And yeah, we're here again for a good time. Apparently, not a long time. Today, I'm free, so I had time for you niggas. But Senna was like, fuck that. We ain't doing that. And I was like, all right, sir. His holiness.
Umthetho awuvumi. Umthetho awuvumi.
Man said umthetho awuvumi. Okay. All right, fair enough. I think let's try to get through as much stuff as possible. I think I'll start with something light where my wife just likes to do these things where she tries to pretend that I'm the privileged one in our relationship and not her, like I'm the one who's bougie and whatnot. So we're just chilling, probably driving back. I can't even remember what was happening, either driving back from somewhere or chilling at home. I think we were driving back from somewhere. And I have this random memory, right, from my childhood. And I say to my wife, I'm like, yo, back, you know, oh yeah. So I remembered this security. I don't know what I remembered, but it led to the fact that I had to tell her that, we had the security guard at home. His name was Patrick, and he used to say,
"Wait, Maposa, already."
Said I don't do the same thing. I've been fighting these allegations for like a week now.
Do you know that? You sometimes say these things, right?
Yeah.
I sometimes don't think it clicks in your mind.
Guys, this F got there Mangalisan. Like let's not get it twisted. So I see it. I just checked my notes now, so I see what I wanted to link it to, which was Rishi Sinak, right? Because he also had a bit of a
I saw that.
I genuinely thought it was fake in this age of AI, right? No. I was like, nah, there's no way this is real. But anyway, we'll get to that in just a second. We'll get to Rishi in a second. But like anyway, so I'm recalling back in the day. I was basically telling my wife, like, hey, bruh, these power cuts in Zim used to be insane. So I just kind of spend my afternoons hanging out with the security guards outside, just booting Soch, right? So I was telling her about the one guard that we had. His name was Patrick. And then my wife stops and says, what? I'm like, yeah, Patrick. It's like, Patrick from where? I'm like, Safeguard. He used to be the day shift guy, and then there was a night shift guy. And then she was just like, so you niggas had Safeguard security at your house? And I'm like, babe, like, this is, again, I recognize the privilege. However, you're making it, you know, bigger than this thing really is. I don't think, I'm sure some people are going to listen to me and be like, oh yeah, that's crazy. But I'm pretty sure the same amounts of people will be like, oh, okay.
No.
Cool. I'm telling you.
I don't think so.
No. Guys, is it mad? Is it mad to have security at your house?
It depends on the circumstance. So
in this Mies economy.
Yes. In this Mies economy, yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you a story. There was a time when we got a security guard.
You see?
But there's context with us.
Okay. What's
Very
the
big context. We just moved to Burnside, and the house wasn't like fully done in terms of like the wall surrounding the house.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have a gate, and we didn't have. I think we had burglar bars, or either that or something didn't have a burglar bar. I think the sliding door in the front was very, very exposed. So then my dad moved to SA for a bit, and then obviously that presents. I was also still a kid, and that presents like a security risk. Then it's like, okay, kulabantwana, no sort of male figure in the house. Security is a bit lax. Agulamtuli, agulaketi. We're still trying to finish this thing.
Yeah.
Then it became a necessity for that little period of time.
Yeah.
But I think if now that the wall and everything was done, as soon as everything security was sorted out, there wasn't a need.
There's always a need for security, man. There's always a need for security. But
it's all about levels. Do
you know the funny thing is, the reason we got rid of them is one of the guards plotted with Amasela Kona, who robbed us the one time. So that was the irony of it all at the end of the day. So we then replaced the security guards with, you know, an alarm system and motion detectors and all that kind of shit, and then electric fence. So before we was just chilling. And then we were like, no, listen, screw human beings, let's go with the technological revolution. And we've never been there have been multiple break-in attempts actually in our house over the years, but the dogs, the electric fence, and the alarms have all done their jobs. So you know, knock on wood, we don't want any more drama. But it is terrifying though when you wake up at 2-3 in the morning and the alarm is going, bruh, you know those alarms make noise, dog.
Yeah. They do the most.
They do the most. And they're like, yo. And the thing is, I know it's people because the dogs just go crazy. So I know there's niggas in the house. And my question is like, shit, are these guys armed or not? Like, it's like, genuinely, I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
Now I have to be a man. It's one of those things. It just becomes peak. There was a time when the alarm went off in December. I was in Zim. I was on my own. My parents weren't there. They were out of the country. And the alarm goes off. Bruh, I was like, check. I was like, there's no way. So normally when it goes off, the chub guys or whatever it is will call you and just say, hey, bruh, are you okay? Like, do we need to pull up and whatever?
What's the code?
Exactly. So like, nobody calls. I'm like, no one's calling. So then now, like, the lights are still off. I deactivate the alarm, and then I let it go off for like 5-6 minutes just to be like, okay, Amakwala will run away at this point, right?
Okay.
So I just let it run for 5-6 minutes, and then I started going around the house, each window, just trying to see, do I see movement? What's this thing outside the house, right? Because if it was, I don't know what the hell I would have done, because there's really no weapons. I would have legitimately just thought about my dad's rifle, of which I don't even know how to fucking fire a gun. So it would have just been like, I know where it is, but it would have just been a fear type of like, hey, bruh, let's go, right? But legitimately, I was just kind of like, bruh, like, hey, and the thing is, it's like, it's 2-3 in the morning, so to not go back to sleep after I didn't see, because the dogs also went quiet, and I was like, okay, are these dogs still there? So I called out to one of them, and then they came to the door, and I was like, okay, cool, dogs are cool, they're fine, this is quiet. I activated the alarm again, and I just watched movies the rest of the night, bro. I was spooked. I was just like, I need to recruit someone to come and live in this house, bro. Like, I hit up my Zaki and I'm like, chief, bro, just come to us.
Hey, please.
let's make a plan. At least if there's 2 of us, you know what I mean? Like, it's not have you seen Bad Boys?
And not
The
yet.
latest
Not yet.
I was gonna refer to something, but I will get it. But okay.
I'm gonna go, I think, in the next week or so.
You should. Hey, it's actually, I don't know. I need to watch the third one again, but I think I enjoyed this one more than the third one.
Okay, let's see.
I think so.
I mean, I always say
it's just recency bias, but I feel
it might be recency bias.
You know,
but I always say, for me, before watching the fourth one, I always had one as like the best thing. Like, one was unbelievable for me. It was just funny. It had a combination of just the jokes, man.
Is the best. I barely remember. I might need to watch one again. For me, 2 is number 1.
Two was good, but I think 2. Do you know where 2 loses me? It's a bit messy in terms of the plot line, and so you've got the gangbangers and you've got the Russian guys. Then it's like, okay, what's the plot here? What are we trying to do? And then it's also just
I liked the Haitians. The Haitians were hilarious.
Yes, those guys, the Haitians. So it's like, okay, where do the Haitians and the Cubans, how do they tie? And then you've got the Russians, and then there's so much action. It's oftentimes so difficult to keep up on, okay, what
the
is
Gabrielle
going on.
Union scene as well. We can't forget that.
So I always say the first one, for me, was clean. Powerful.
Straight to the point.
But it was hella funny. Like, they prioritized the comedy, which always gets me. I'm always keen for a funny action movie. Although someone was like, the real comparison shouldn't be which Bad Boys is the best. The real conversation is, are you for Bad Boys or are you for Rush Hour?
That's interesting. I don't think you can compare, again, saying that you're off trail, but let's try to wrap it up. But I don't think you can compare Rush Hour to Bad Boys, because I think Rush Hour is much, much closer to satire, in the sense that it was comedy first, action second in Rush Hour. In all the Rush Hour movies, it was always comedy first, action second. And I don't think Bad Boys is set up the same way.
No, it's not.
I think it's action first, or action drama, whatever you want to term it, and then comedy close second.
Yeah.
And because of that, you can't really and now that you brought this up, the discussion is going to be Bad Boys or Fast and Furious, because that's where the last 2 installments of Bad Boys have gone. They've taken a bit of a lot of the Vin Diesel formula, and maybe that's why I've actually liked them. I don't want to say more than the OGs. I think the OGs are they're in a different lane. What they've done to revamp Bad Boys has been much, much closer to what Fast and Furious has been more successful with. But the beauty of it is, it's the Fast and Furious that we loved, where it wasn't like, now Fast and Furious they've just been raising the standard higher and higher and higher, to where it's like, okay, these guys went to space and nobody really cared. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't. We've been so oversaturated with the Fast and Furious movies in terms of the stunts that they do. This gives the energy of like Fast 5, Fast 6 type of thing, where it was still great. Yeah, well, so I think I really, really like it. Was they gave each they gave members really, really great action scenes without spoiling anything that you wouldn't expect to have them.
Yeah.
There's the most badass one is from someone who when it happens, you're like, that actually makes sense. But when just before it happens, you're like, oh shit, I didn't think they would give you this much screen time, my nigga. Right? But like it's so I think it is really, really good. And also they switch the focus. So basically Will Smith becomes Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys, and Martin Lawrence becomes Will Smith in Bad Boys. So without spoiling it, that's all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of that kind of the way that they've set it up.
Okay.
And I kind of liked it because to me, yeah, I don't know. I went into it looking to hate on Will Smith. I won't lie. I'll be completely transparent. I went in as I'm gonna hate watch Bad Boys because my wife hit me up. She was like, "Hey, bro, let's go watch Bad Boys." And I was like, "Okay, fine. For you, baby, I'll do it."
Anything for you, Sandra.
That was my mentality. Like, yo, the wife wants to see it, so I'm gonna see it, right? But otherwise, left to me, just because I'm a hater, I would have gone to Pirate Bay or Gujra or whatever to watch it illegally because they wasn't getting my money. But I throughout the movie, I was being convinced. I was like, damn, okay, you know what? I'm laughing here, I'm laughing there. Okay, you know what? You know, like it's for what Bad Boys is. I gave it a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay.
So it was money well spent, in my opinion. But I think once you watch this one and then you think about the latest 2 Bad Boy movies, you agree with me. The conversation now is Fast and Furious versus Bad Boys, not Rush Hour. I think Rush Hour is far left.
Okay, I'll give it a watch and then I'll come back. I'll let you know I'll go on.
Fair. Are you up to date on House of the Dragon?
Nope. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the latest season. I watched. No, Shem. To be honest,
you have a podcast.
No, they must stop being silly. What do you mean you're going away for 2 years? 2 years.
Also, you didn't even know it was coming back.
No, I knew it was coming back after 2 years, but by then I've lost.
No, I mean, as in you didn't know this past Sunday they were.
Oh yeah, no,
coming
I
back
didn't. Like I saw the ads like a few months and a few weeks ago, and then I was like, okay, no. I even said to my wife, like, oh, we need to rewatch the first season, and then before we know it, I'm now seeing, oh, it happened. Oh, okay, sharp, cool. So during the
have you seen any spoilers?
I haven't seen any spoilers, thank God. I've just seen like little, like when you see little clips and then you just scroll by quickly because you're like, okay, I'll get to it. But I think that is an example of how you lose momentum, because I think even HBO said the viewership is significantly down from the first season.
It was for the premiere. Last year premiered at about 2-point-something million viewers, and this year was about 1.3 million. So it was about a 50% decline. And some of the people, like you said, put it on the fact that it was 2 years to get a new season out. Others have said Warner Bros. Have not spent enough on in terms of budget, or HBO, which is owned by Warner Bros. And that would track as well in terms of advertising budget, because Warner is actually not in the best financial place at the moment.
Okay.
Some industry experts even think they're making moves, or David Zaslav, who's the CEO, is making moves to package it to be ready for sale. That's the way that some industry experts are putting it, because there's certain moves that you do in business sometimes where you want to make your business look healthier than it actually is. So you might sell off this, you might close this, you might invest in that, and those are telltale signs sometimes early on. Woody, hey guys, we're for sale, you know. So there's those rumors going around in the market, and it was actually funny because like Phil and Dan were having this conversation. Well, they have a conversation about movies in general, about how the cinema experience and, you know, kind of where Hollywood is right now, and they're not in a good place. It's funny because I think this weekend Inside Out came out. Inside Out 2, rather, which is an animated movie by Pixar. It opened at 155 million in I think this is the US box office. I don't know if it's global box office. And I think it's the first 100 million opening of this year, or maybe like one of two or something along those lines. That's how bad the year is in Hollywood. Because by this point, you would have had at least $3 or $4 billion movies. So as a whole, the industry is not in a good place. And people are blaming streaming, they're blaming this, they're blaming that. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, look, in as much as you can blame streaming, the only reason streaming is appealing is because the movie theater experience is shit.
It's expensive.
In general, it's expensive, but also you're willing to pay for it if it's a good experience.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if it's a date-worthy experience, Senna will shell out the cash. But if it's you get there and then the seats don't even like recline, like it's a basic recline, and like here in Dubai, a lot of the cinemas, I'd go to movies and it's like 5 of us or 6 of us in there. The only time I would sit in a sold out theater was when Marvel movies dropped. That was the only time I'd sit in a sold out theater. And we was eating good, like back in 2014 to 2016, bro. It used to be great to go to movies. Maybe even up to 2018, right? Movie going experience was amazing. And the reason why it was amazing was because there was competition. And you had Fox, which was its own studio before it was bought by Disney. You have Disney Marvel, and then you had DC under Warner Bros. And because there was that comic book movie craze, and you had, at some point, we had like 5-6 comic book movies a year coming out, right? Disney only did 2, DC would do 2, and Fox would do 2, and then you had Sony had Spider-Man, so Sony threw Spider-Man in there, right? So like, because there were so many big movies, people would go in droves for these big blockbuster movies, but because people are going in droves, you would have all of these other indie movies and all these different types of movies that would be counter programming, where you go and Mrs. Moore says, actually babe, let's go watch this rom-com. But if it's just the rom-com standing alone as it is now in 2024, because there is no Marvel movies, then it's like, it's much harder to drag Senna's ass out of his house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's all these different things that are moving in terms of the movie industry. But I just think in general, because there's some cinemas that I've gone, bro, the seats are amazing. Like proper, full-on, almost lie flat seats, bruh. Business class on a plane type seats. Other theaters where you can have a proper dinner, you order the food, they'll bring it to you, and it's like
a proper experience.
Yeah, it's a proper experience. So like those are premier, but it's like, how often am I going to do that, right? In terms of, like, I do those type of cinemas maybe once every 2 months, 3 months even, depending on the movie, right? So it's just, I don't know how they're going to fix it in terms of the movie going experience. But I think, and also a lot of these movies are coming out to streaming relatively quickly as well.
So I might as well just wait.
I might as well wait. If I wait 3 weeks to 6 weeks, it'll pop up on streaming, and then I can buy it.
Disney will have it. Prime will have it.
Exactly.
DSTV has also been trying to acquire a lot of interesting content.
At least Bazam or something, but
they're struggling. So,
but it's tough. I think right now, the age that we live in, I think there needs to be, if it's not going to be comic book movies, there needs to be a commercial product from Hollywood that everybody is on. So if it's not comic books, it needs to either bring back the 90s action movies or bring back animated movies, something. There needs to be something that is consistently going to be released throughout the year that audiences will say, screw it, opening weekend, I'm there. And right now, that's not there. Because the only Marvel movie that's coming out, if I'm correct, is Deadpool and Wolverine. That's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
But that's not enough.
No, it isn't. I mean, I'm looking at the new Metro website now. Did you know that Kung Fu Panda 4 is coming out?
Really, that one it's on its last legs. That one is that's for families who have kids. So I'm sure Lokuzen, Usabedo, for example, will know, because his kids will be like, Dad, we're going to go watch Kung Fu Panda 4. That's the only reason he's going to be in the cinema. But like the rest of us, like, the first one was dope. The second one was alright, but then after that, it's just kind of.
Also, we're not old.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about age, right? Because like sometimes if a property is dope, right? So like if they release The Incredibles 3, I'm gonna be in there because I'll fucks with The Incredibles. Like that's a dope franchise still. They took way too long to give us Incredibles 2, but Incredibles 2 was also awesome, right? So I'm still on board with that. But like with Kung Fu Panda, they lost me a long time ago. Shrek, I'd go back.
I'd go back for another Shrek.
If they. Yeah, so there's certain animated projects that you're like, no, we'll be back for this one. But if they said Shark Tale 2, like, who's going back for Shark Tale 2?
Yeah. So Manje, you're saying Warner Brothers wants to sell off Thingy?
Potentially they want to. I don't know if they're selling the entire movie studio, or they would just want to sell their streaming, or I don't know what they want to sell. But some people are saying, hey, Zaslav is moving in a way of someone who in a few years is going to accept bids. And that, to me, is going to cripple the industry even more, because there are less and less studios you have standing on their own. You're not going to have, I'm not going to buy Warner Bros. And be like, okay, everybody, we're going to keep the staff. I'm going to keep a director. I'm going to keep this, and that. You're going to fire a lot of people, right? And you're going to assimilate it into your business. And now, if we were getting 20 movies a year from Disney and Warner Bros., it's not going to drop down to maybe 14 movies a year now that Disney owns Warner Bros., as an example, So that's what, because like the Fox, like, bro, we last got an excellent movie in maybe, when did it come out? 2018?
Logan.
No, not Logan. It was Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix, I think. Let me look it up. But that was like just 2017, 18, somewhere there. That's the last X-Men ensemble movie that we got. There was New Mutants, of which I don't even think got a theatrical release. It went straight to streaming. So like these, but if it stayed at Fox, even if it was bad, at least Fox would have been trying to release something where it's like, okay, cool. It's not all the Disney brand and like this is how Disney does things. I kind of appreciate different studios because they specialize and they hire different people. So it's different voices and different, artistry that you see at the end of the day. But if one company owns everything, it's just kind of like, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
So let's see if Deadpool and Wolverine feels like it should. That's going to be great. But I just don't want it to feel like another Disney movie, because then, Disney's been shit in the bed for a few years now, from Black Panther to Eternals to it's just been bad movie after bad. The only movie that I feel like I really enjoyed was Doctor Strange, the latest one. But other than
that to me was a bit tricky. But
it was a bit. But I mean, if you're just purely looking at Doctor Strange, between the first one and this one was a lot better in my opinion, right? But if you're looking at quality of Marvel movies, then it is in the middle to lower tier, right? Depending on who you are. But let me see. How do you spell Phoenix? Phoenix. There we go. 2019 is when it came
5
out.
years
That's the last
ago.
X movie that came out.
And that's okay. To be honest, we complain about the franchise.
Because if Fox still existed, we would have had another X-Men movie by maybe 2022. We would have had 2023 maybe, would have had another X. But now, the next X-Men movie is Marvel's, they only have capacity to do it realistically 2026, 2027, right? So you're looking at almost 10 years between the last X-Men movie to the newest one that's going to come out whenever Marvel says it's going to come out. So I'm pro competition. Let these studios stand on their own. So I hope Fox doesn't give Marvel back the rights to Spider-Man, because now we're not even going to get Spider-Man on a semi-regular basis, which is the business world, man, is just fascinating sometimes, the way they do some of these things. But anyway, going back to what I had said originally, Rishi Sinak, guys, there was a clip I saw scrolling on TikTok. Some of these things. So I genuinely, I ask Lindo to add this in, because when you listen to it, I was watching it, but when you listen, it's just, in my mind, I'm like, nah, this is like a joke or something, right?
Have you ever gone without something?
Yeah, I mean, my family emigrated here with very little, and that's how I was raised. I was raised with the values of hard work.
What did you go without as a child?
We went out with lots of things, right? Because my parents wanted to put everything into our education, and that was a priority.
So what sort of things had to be sacrificed?
Lots of things, right? So,
Can you give me an example
all
of
sorts
something?
of things. So, like lots of people, there'll be all sorts of things that I would have wanted as a kid that I couldn't have, right? Famously, Sky TV. So that was something that we never had growing up, actually.
So he's telling the reporter, Uguti, like my upbringing, it was tough like everybody else, and then the reporter, and it almost feels like the interviewer kind of knew that this guy came from privilege, and he wanted to poke to be like, what are you actually talking about? So then the guy goes, oh, so because Rishi says something along the lines of like, we didn't have everything and whatever, and he goes, oh, like what? And then he goes, my parents were really focused on education, and that was really the big focus in our family, education. And then like we were still waiting for him to give us an answer of like, what were you lacking in life? Did this nigga not go and say, Sky TV. And I was like, nah, man. So when he said that, I was like, okay, this is a joke. Like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to be funny. Maybe this is like some, I don't know, SNL.
Yeah.
You know, like, I genuinely is like, there's no way an intelligent politician agreed to be on camera and fumbled at that.
No, but he had nowhere to run, right? So
no, but dude, you can lie, bro. Be like, oh, say some. You know, it doesn't even, because it's shit that's not provable, right? If it goes, oh, I couldn't get the latest sneakers, or I don't know, something, bro. Like,
okay,
just
let me. So
Yeah.
I think your wife would appreciate me asking you this question actually. So if you were to run for president in Zim, let's say, you know, we had a proper democratic process and whatever, Mr. Maps, you're now running for president, right? Man of the people, that's how you brand yourself, because when you're a conservative, or when you're a politician in general, but especially when you're part of like the conservative party in the UK, you have to be like, yeah, it's, you know, these liberals and the Labour Party and the left, you know, they're trying to, they don't care about you poor folks, you're the ones who must vote for us and whatever, right? So I'm saying, let's say you're now branding yourself as a man of the people, you're running for office there in Bulawayo, you know, and then now you're in Country Park trying to get votes. Like, yeah, no, I'm, you know, I'm one of you, Nami nkulega nzima. And then the journalist is like, sorry, Maposa, what did you lack growing up? What would you say?
Oh, that's
What
an
would
easy
you
one.
say?
That's a. I tell them that I didn't have cornflakes.
That's the exact same thing.
Chow.
That's the exact same thing.
I know, no. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. But listen, you have to. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're somewhat intelligent, you know your audience, right? You would have been prepped with some other shit that's relatable, right? So I would have said some shit like, you know, if they say, what did we lack? It's like, we lacked, you know, Imota, so I always had to catch lifts from friends around us.
Okay.
You know.
But can I tell you the problem
school.
with that, right?
Or some shit like
The problem with that then becomes, because we're living in the internet age, right? Anything is easily verifiable. So you have to be careful about lying. Unless, of course...
But yes, which is what I'm saying. You need to be prepared, right? Like, there needs to be, because some stuff.
Because I think he was ambushed with that question. I don't think he was prepared for it.
But still, Senator, if you need to be quick-witted, right, and just say, because, like, for example, because he stalled for time. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just awkward silence and he said something. He bought himself 30 seconds to say, okay, what can I put in here? Sky TV cannot be the best you have to offer, my guy. Right? Because even if I go like, oh yeah, I mean, I needed to get lifts because sometimes my dad's car didn't work or whatever, or we didn't have a family car. Just because you've seen my dad driving me to school does not mean I was lying. Because there are people, including Senna himself, who can vouch for the fact that they dropped me home a multitude of times when we were growing up, right? So it's like some of this shit cannot be proven in this even in this age of the internet, and you just have to pick these things where it's kind of like people just kind of have to go for okay. So the Sky TV thing can't be proven or disproven, but it was just incredibly dumb to pick something that is associated with privilege, like me saying DSTV in Country Park. Like, come on, dog. You know what I mean?
But I'm
like,
saying in that moment,
you can't prove what
but in that moment,
right?
they're not looking for. They look for something unique to you, like a suffering experience. Like Jacob Zuma can be like, I never went to school. I was a rural boy. I had to walk 20 kilometers for this. Easy. Cyril could also say, I grew up in rural Limpopo, blah, blah, blah. My mom was this, I did this, I had to rise to the ranks, all of it, right? The one person who's been able, in my opinion, to completely bullshit people and brand himself as a man of the people is Trump. Trump is probably one of the greatest politicians I've ever seen. Trump will go to rural America as a billionaire with billions in his account, having inherited money from his father, or I think his dad gave him $1 million loan or something like that.
Is that still very true. I've seen that.
Ukuthi his dad gave him a loan.
Yeah, it was like I asked my dad for a small loan. Of
Yeah,
$1 million
to start
or
his
something
business.
like
I think that's how it happened. Verifiable. I'm not sure if it's true, but I think it is. But he's brilliant at going into rural areas, not hiding the fact that he's got money. But then what he does is he makes it seem like he worked his socks off, he rolled up his sleeves, and then he made something of himself. Sunak maybe doesn't have that personality of, one, I'm going to lie, or two, I'm going to rebrand myself. Also, maybe, I don't know, sometimes being African and Indian and lying about your background when your parents are still alive, it's a very dangerous thing, because they'll be quick with you on the phone like, what do you mean you walk to school? I dropped you off every day. Tabo. Do you know what I mean? So I think he was boxed. He didn't have a choice, and then that was the best he could do.
So just some quick fact checking. Mr. Trump said, my father gave me a very small loan in 1975 and I built it into a company worth many billions. A sweeping new investigation report published by the New York Times on Tuesday, however, says that Trump's father, Fred Trump, actually lent his son $60.7 million.
Wow.
So it was not 1 million, Mr. Moyo. It was 60 times that 1 million.
So he's been very careful about rebranding, and you can even say outright lies to the public. And I think Sunak struggles with that, and he struggled here. And the best he could do was, I didn't have Sky, didn't have DSTV.
I've never seen a brown man look more white, in my opinion. Like, I was shocked. I just couldn't believe that he said that, and he still smiled, and and it's like when I realized it was real was when there's that Zim comedian Munya something in the UK, and he made a spoof of it. I was like, wow, so this was legit. This was actually legit. Like I just anyway. But in the interest of time, we will leave Mdara Sunak.
Do you think he'll win the election, the upcoming general election?
I have no idea, bro. I've not been in tune with any British politics. Like, we can text Nat and ask her what the momentum is like. Yeah, because you remember we were talking. Oh no, I think I was with. Was it? Yeah, I think it was with you or Tinto. When I was talking about we had undercover Zimbos voting in South Africa. Nat reached out and said, if you're shocked about South Africa, wait until the UK elections. So I will be on watch for all your little fingers if they do the same painting thing in the UK. Please tell us. We want to see who has voted. I do know quite a few of you Zimbos now have British passports, but let's see who's moving undercover and who's not. But anyway, Mr. Moy, onwards to additional business news. This is a very business focused episode of this podcast. China, specifically Chinese cars. Again, this was inspired by TikTok. A TikToker made a video about a South African, an article, I guess it's a South African newspaper. Maybe, I don't know. The Daily Investor.
I'm
know
not
if that's
sure.
South African. But it was corroborated by Business Tech. That is South African. So the article in this is titled, South Africans Dump Mercedes and BMW for Cheaper Chinese Cars, which brought joy to my little Chinese car loving heart. So I'll kind of just read one or two parts of this article. So it just says, rich South Africans are starting to feel severe financial pain when putting pressure on the sale of premium cars, and in particular luxury German brands such as Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. The decline comes as the middle class South African racks up higher debt levels, which, when coupled with high interest rates, take up a large portion of their disposable income. Elevated interest rates also make buying a new car more expensive, as the repayments on auto loans have increased as the Reserve Bank has hiked rates. So again, you guys get where the article is going. I'm just trying to see if there's some interesting statistics. So the Debt Busters Index for the first quarter of 2024 showed that South Africans earning over 20,000 rand per month, I don't know if this is pre or post tax, are seeing their debt levels shoot up. It also showed that repayments have hit record highs due to rising debt levels and high interest rates. Households now spend 2/3 of their income paying debt. Yeah, so Debtbusters also said that the debt to income ratio for people taking home more than 28,000 rand per month is 127%, while it's 172% for those earning 35,000 rand or more. So these ratios are close, or These ratios are at or close to the highest ever seen in South Africa. What is concerning is that for many people earning 35,000 rand or more, unsecured debt levels are 41% higher. So this is in line with inflation. This is in line with inflation, indicating that without meaningful salary increases, these consumers are using debt to supplement their income. So, on to the car part of these things. The sale of Audi vehicles has declined from 18,375 units in 2017 to a mere 6,259 in 2023. That is insane. So, you're looking at, I'm just trying to see here if...
Is that like brand new cars, yeah?
Yeah, this is brand new. So saying Mercedes, BMW, and Mini have not fared much better. Only Porsche is bucking the trend. So Porsche is virtually flat, and I'm trying to see which one is this other blue one. I guess it's Mini. Porsche and Mini are they've not increased or decreased in terms of units sold since 2014 for the most part. But if you're looking at BMW and Mercedes, like was mentioned, at peak, bro. It's
no one's trying to buy new German cars in South Africa anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's actually, you know what's funny? So this is where the Chinese car comes in. So it says Suzuki actually has made a stronghold. They've grown from selling 6,000 units to 47,000 units, which is insane. And Haval and Sherry have seen similar growth, with Sherry selling over 16,000 cars in the last year compared to 1,200 cars in 2014. So it's pretty insane how the Chinese cars have destabilized the car market in not just South Africa, but in the UAE especially as well. Like, we just see... Wait until BYD comes to South Africa, Senna. BYD, Jetor, and like China,
I don't think they're going to let it happen. These guys.
How do you stop them?
And they'll...
I mean, in Europe, for Chinese electric cars, there is, I think the import tariffs are significantly higher. So the car could be like as cheap. They have an electric car in China. I don't know who produces it, but it's like like the size of like a Picanto or whatever. They sell it retail prices at about $5,000, but it jumps up to $20,000 because of all the import costs and tariffs and all that shit. So that's what Europe is doing for now, as a temporary measure, because also they're trying to do some sort of formal investigation to find out why is China able to sell its cars so cheap? Like, is the government subsidizing these companies? Like, what's going on for them to come in so low? Because it's not even like it was saving $5,000-$6,000.
Yeah,
they're saving 15.
But that's because they're not trying to take a piss, right? In South Africa nowadays, you can't get a decent, new-ish, even second-hand car without finance from the bank. You can buy an old car which is over 10-15 years old without finance, but like a newish, my 2018, 2019, out there, say it's 16, 17 cars, ain't no way. And that's where I think the problem is. It's now become, Do
you know what's crazy, Senator? 2019, Arval sold 872 cars. in South Africa. 817 in 2019. Last year, is this last year or is this 2023? Yeah, this is last year and up to now, this is up to 6 February 2024. Haval has sold approximately 19,000 units, representing a 2,000% increase from 2019.
Massive.
This is just in South Africa.
Because they're cheaper than
Yeah.
Hyundai and what's the other one? Toyota. Toyota SUVs are insane. Like, yeah.
Nissan, the big guys, the big Japanese and Korean brands, Kia, you know. So like they even gave in the Business Tech article the price of the Haval's top ranging H6. Shout out to the H6 SUV ranges from 492,000 to 670,000, right? And then while a Sherry Tigo Pro, I've never seen that one, ranges from 609,000 to 660,000 rand. In contrast, a Mercedes or BMW hatchback, a 1 Series, guys, or an A class, ranges from starting price is 820,000.
820K. That's insane. I mean, most of the middle class wouldn't be able to afford that.
Or 690 for a BMW. And it's not even like they can't even afford that. It's like the practical thing. Like exactly like for me, if I have a family, what am I doing buying a 1 Series, right? So I could afford a 1 Series, but it's like it's stupid to buy, right? Because you've got a kid and you want to be comfortable. You want a utility vehicle. So it's like, why would you spend that type of money when you have and now what the Chinese focused on, which is brilliant, what they did. Number one, their cars had shit reliability.
Okay.
And they had bad safety.
They
scores.
fixed it.
They sort that out. And then problem number two was their cars looked ugly. Look up some of these cars. They're 2017 models even. Don't even go far. Look up their 2017 models of some of these Chinese cars. They looked like utter garbage, bro. Like garbage. But now you look at these Chinese cars, they figured it out. They're like, oh, if we want our people to buy our cars, they have to look good. So they started getting these design directors at Mercedes and BMW and all these other manufacturers, established guys, threw them buckets of money and said, hey, come and design our cars. And then guess what? Now China has all these beautiful looking, bro, I drive on the road and I'm like, yo, what is that? And it looks dope. Like, bro, just look up BYD.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at the design.
Not a lot of people know this. They supply Tesla's batteries, or at least a good chunk of Tesla's batteries. So these guys know their shit, right? But it's if you look at the like, I'm like, yo, listen, I might want to, if I ever convert to electric.
So this looks
I
like a
just get myself a
Porsche
BYD
and a
because
Tesla almost at the same time. It's like a
bro, it looks dope. It looks dope. It's and they've tried their some countries, I don't know, maybe it's an American thing. A lot of these Chinese cars, for some reason, they, and I need to do research on it, they can't get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. They don't come with that. So the car will be sexy, everything working, everything up to standard, but it just won't have either of those two options. And that was, someone was saying that was kind of like either America or wherever is planned to kind of slow down the Chinese revolution, to say, because imagine, Senna, is not having Apple CarPlay going to be the reason you don't buy a car?
no.
Like, come on, though.
As long as I have Bluetooth.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and that's where they miscalculated, in my opinion, right? Because the target market is not the bougie guys. The bougie guys are still going to buy their Mercs and Beamers and Porsches and whatever, right? They'll still buy them. But then the Towers and Centers of the world are like, hey, bruh, would I rather go for a VW or a Beamer or whatever? That's the best I can afford is a 2017, 2019, or can I get a 2024 Chinese car? And I've got my service contract for 3 years. I've got a 200,000 kilometer warranty. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these things for the same price, for the or a little bit more. Because like the misnomer is, oh, people want to, we buy used cars because it's more economically, it makes more economical sense to get a used car than don't buy a brand new car. In the old economy, 100%, right? But with where China is pricing these cars, it actually makes more sense to get a new car, brand new, peel the plastics yourself.
Yeah.
You know, people go through a whole lifetime having never bought a brand new car.
Yeah.
You know, and now China comes in and is like, actually, guys,
You can
peel the plastics.
You can do it.
It's for 600,000 rand, which is, again, it's a lot of money. I'm not saying it's cheap, but it's like, chief.
But I mean,
if that was your budget anyway,
for a brand new,
just get a new car.
For a brand new thingy, for a brand new VW Tiguan. I mean, that's an 800, 900K.
Oh, that's
brand new one.
I'm shocked it's not $1 million, bro.
Might be.
Maybe it starts from 800. Maybe it's starting from 800, but I'm pretty sure the model that you'd actually want, because these basic models are whack. Imagine paying 800,000 rand and your car doesn't have blind spot detection. That is insane to me, bro.
Khalile with your blind spot detection.
No, but Senna, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Why am I always laugh when like I drive past a Mercedes or something, you can tell like, this car doesn't have blind spot detection or it doesn't have this thing. It's like, bro, that's a Merc. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, why would you? I'd sooner give me the tech. You know, they like, if you just go on TikTok, guys, and Senna included, if you just go on TikTok and you type in, I don't know what hashtag you'd have to look up, maybe you say Haval essay or something like that, whatever. There's this part of TikTok that people who have bought these new Chinese cars have been showing off their cars. So like, apparently it's got voice commands. One of them, you say open sunroof and then it opens the sunroof. Like random really cool shit, and people are super excited because they're getting current gen cars and they're not going into extreme debt for those cars. Like that to me, if I'm one of these guys that do import export, I'm talking to these Chinese brands and like, right, let's talk about how we can start bringing these cars into my country. That's, and I think, for me, if I was in that business, that's what I would be chasing.
And I think that's one of the reasons why there's always such a huge pushback on BRICS, because then it's like, oh, what do you mean China, Russia? What are you guys going to do? Oh no, we're just going to, improve trade between us. And then you've got Europe saying, what are the South Africans going to start buying cars from China? They're going to start buying their clothes from India, or what's going to happen? And then it continues, right? And then eventually you remove a market for companies like VW, which apparently have very strong links to the German government. And you're like, okay, we're still... once you start unwrapping a lot of these multinationals and what they're doing on the continent especially, you'll just start to realize that, actually, the reason why there will be pushback, the reason why they make it so hard for, manufacturers from emerging markets to supply in your country, like the ex-Japs. Those ex-Japs that are in Zim, they're not allowed to touch South African roads. You know that? Yeah. Like they come in through the Skippe.
You put them on a truck,
come to Durban, they go dump it by the border in Messina, and then that's it. And then in my mind I go, but guys. So I think for me, I say we need to get to a point where we open up the auto manufacturing industry in South Africa, and then we start doing away with, in particular, German and Japan interest in this industry. I think South Africans, I look at the average salary of the ordinary working class or middle class person in SA. Cars should not be that expensive. It shouldn't be you are one missed paycheck away from the bank showing up and saying we're taking your car, which is what it is for like a lot of us. And I think we do need a competitive motor industry just so that people can get affordable vehicles, because the public transport system is also shit. So you have a situation where it's either you're taking the taxi or you're buying a car.
Yeah, I think you have hit the proverbial nail on the head. Competition is always pro-consumer, right? The more competitive pricing you have, the better it is in general for consumers in whatever industry that we're talking about. And what has happened with the car market is, I don't know if it's been coordinated, but there used to be, think about the way we thought about Kia 10 years ago, right? Or even when we were still in high school. I don't even know if people knew what Kia was in high school. So you think about all these different manufacturers and what even like remember when Mercedes came out with the compressor, like 2007, 6, that was dope. That was luxury, but it was attainable.
Yeah.
Like I had quite a few relatives, let me not say quite a few, I had a few relatives who did have that car, and I knew other friends and families who did have that car. It was one of those things where it was not like out of this world, right? But then you think about those same type of families today, and how many are pulling up in a 2024 C200, right? Or E200 or whatever it is. Like it's just it has become
not many.
What Mercedes and BMW and Audi used to be were upper middle class vehicles to high class, or whatever the fuck that next class is called, right? Those were the personas they typically served. Now, to buy a brand new E200 is, come on, fam. I would not be surprised. Just look
the
up
latest
on
of
Auto
those
Trader.
brands.
Just say 2024 E200. I'm pretty sure you're looking at 2 mil. I'd be shocked if it's less than 2 million.
Let's see. 2024 E200 Mercedes Auto Trader. It's coming up. Okay, so I can't find a new one. Let me say new. Should I say new or used? I can find new. Okay. Okay, I can't find new ones here on Auto. You won't find a new one on Auto Trader. That's my bad. But I can see a second-hand one going here for 879,000. Second-hand.
Sure.
That
for
is
2023
for 54,000 kilometers. 2020.
Damn, 800K, bruh.
2. Yeah, 880,000 rands. Automatic Mercedes-Benz E-Class E200 AMG line. But the car that kills it for me, not so much the Mercedes, for me is the Toyota Hilux. The price of a Toyota Hilux has gone out of this world, fam. Back then, I remember back when we were in school, when there were a couple of people we learned to, like, oh, le Hilux. And then back in South Africa even, like, oh, when you had a Hilux, it was, you're a middle class person doing well, you have a good job, all these things. It makes sense. Katesi, you try buy a Hilux, it is way over 400,000 rand for a second.
It's not happening.
Hilux.
Yeah.
Double cab. And you're like, when did we get here, Batung? Speaking in Lapa.
E200 is 1.4 million for anyone interested.
For a brand new one.
Yeah. Brand new AMG E200, 1.46 million, which, like you said, there's even a 2021 E200 for 800K. So it's, but like you said, I'm glad you brought up the Hilux point. Specifically regarding South Africa, the tipping point is going to be the bakkie market. Haval does have a bakkie that they sell, but it's not quite, in terms of aesthetically at least, it's not quite as nice. At least in my opinion. When I see it, it doesn't hit like an Amarok, it doesn't hit like a Ranger, it doesn't hit like a Hilux or an Isuzu. They're not quite there yet, but I think once the Chinese have figured out what South Africans like to see, and assuming that the pulling power and safety specs are on par with the Toyotas of the world, that's when the vehicle industry is in trouble. For now, they're just capitalizing on families and young professionals who aren't slaves to the German brands. They'll make decisions
Mercedes
based on
tried
economy.
it.
Oh, with the X-Class?
Mercedes tried it with the X-Class. Yeah, they were like, oh, strong bakkie market in South Africa. Let's try the X-Class. and then they came. They eventually it was too expensive.
Yeah.
They also branded it as limited edition. I think you know how things are when it's limited edition. It's like limited edition until we realize it doesn't sell or not. Which is what happened. People were still like, actually, this is just a Nissan Navara with a Mercedes logo, so I might as well just go get a Navara.
Yeah.
But all those cars that just used to be standard, Akuseko.
Hold on, I'm going to send you a link to this Haval Baki. Tell me what you think when you see it. I sent it on
I was also about to say iMessage.
Yeah.
I was also about to say, let's also not underestimate how much damage Uber has done to the economy market for cars.
You scheme.
Yeah, no one wants to buy those Corollas anymore. No one is keen to.
Oh, okay. You mean in that sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
So if you're starting out, like in South Africa, if you're starting out, you just get a new job.
Yeah.
You could probably go and try look for a Corolla.
Yeah.
But if you do that, and then you have Utabo saying, "Oh, can you Uber?" I've seen pictures of this.
You've seen this, Adam? What do you think?
I've seen pictures.
It looks nice in the snow. Are you seeing the snow pictures?
I'm seeing the snow pictures.
Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's not... I don't know. I don't know what it's missing.
Okay, maybe the blue isn't... They'll get it right. Look, my man, they're coming. They're coming. With time, they'll fix it. They'll do what...
Honestly,
they'll do what they need to do.
Like, actually. Oh, the blue one. I've seen the blue one now. You see, the blue one doesn't look... It looks even worse. The ones in the snow look dope. But that blue one, it's not really hitting. The interior also is rather basic. But like for me, like again, if I had that extra income, like I'd cop this for my dad. You know what I mean? Like it's like okay, I can get him something solid that was for the next 6-7 years. Man's is good. You know what I mean? And you can do that, and it can be brand new. So those are some of the things that I think people are now going to be thinking of, because you want to make the cars last, right? And it just makes no sense for you to buy a brand new car and say, yeah, it's going to last. Like, you know, get those extra 3-4 years out of the vehicle when it's still fully insured and has all these different things directly from the manufacturer. Because the only tricky thing about the Chinese vehicles at this point, where I would sooner tell someone buy it brand new than used or off warranty, is the fact that parts will be difficult to find because they're still entering the market. Right? You can get a Toyota because you know if anything goes wrong, you can cheap out, go to Marabastat and get the part that you need. Right? That's not going to be the case with a lot of these Chinese cars. Right, it needs to be a car that's in circulation and has been in circulation for a couple of years. Then you're gonna find, you know, those specific parts. And God forbid, it's like my insurance was telling me that we'll fix it, but you know, the garage can only do used. They can't buy new pieces. They have to be used pieces. So now you're not even just looking for the part; you're looking for a used version of that part, which can be tricky. You know. But it's I think once they conquer the Baki market, it's going to be a very interesting couple of years for the car industry in South Africa, especially if the rest of those other Chinese brands get in. Then it's because like Haval can say, oh, we can sell for XXX price because they're still significantly lower than your established brands, your Nissans, your Toyotas and everything else. But then let other Chinese car manufacturers get into the game. Yay.
It's late.
I almost said I will have a good time. Yours will be happy. Yours will be proper.
I can't wait for it.
But anyway, Mr. Moy, let's move on to the next thing. Hey, bro, I'm seeing like this Baki, bro. 600K, dog. You can get it for 600K. 700. The most expensive version of it is 800K for a Baki.
It's insane.
Yo. But look up a Ford Ranger. I can't.
The Ford yazama, what the Ford yazamela. I think they're the only ones that are still trying to be reasonable in Africa. Laba abanye mina,
The others are wilding, bro.
they're wilding.
Okay, let me take a look here. Okay, so you said you didn't watch House of the Dragon. Where did I get this 12 chicks? Oh yeah, this is interesting. But one actual point. This is not really a spoiler, but this is a talking point. Next time, Mr. Moyo, you'll come prepared for the podcast. But like in the first episode back, someone gets eaten out. Okay, that's the only point. Like again, it's not really a spoiler, but someone gets eaten out. I was watching a clip from Kev the comedian, and he made a very good point. Very, very good point. Which was the first thing that he thought about was like, yo, this is medieval times. Eating someone out in medieval times is kind of crazy. It's kind of wild. You know what I mean?
Why do you say it's wild?
Senna, what do you mean? So like, okay, also you haven't seen let me just contextualize this for everybody else who's not with me. If you haven't seen Shogun, right? Or have you started watching it?
Not yet.
Okay. So one of the main actors is a white guy, right? That finds himself in Japan. And there's a scene where the Japanese, they give him a room and whatever, and they say, Chief, humble kiss. And the white guy is like, no, I'm good. Because also he's kind of clanking, right? So all the other Japanese around him are just kind of, hey, my man kind of stinks. Let's get him bathed and change clothes. So they go to him like, hey, brother, go and bath. And then he goes, in the most arrogant tone ever, he says, oh, God, no. I already had a bath. And they're like, when? He's like, oh, beginning of the week. I had a bath. Are you trying to tell me, Wuti, I must have a bath every day? That's insanity. Of which, again, in the context of that world was funny, but even funnier knowing how much we give white people grief about this whole showering, policy of theirs. So that was on both sides. That shit was funny. And this is Shogun is set, I'd probably say, quite a bit after when Game of Thrones would be set. So now, imagine this. We have something that's relatively closer in the past. Maybe, let's say Shogun is something around 100 years before, something along those lines, right? And people already were only bathing once a week, right? So now if we go back 300 years or 200 years further back in time, bro, it's how often were these people bathing? That's number one. I don't even know if there's been some people unlucky enough to attempt to eat that item after a day without touching water. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that's already a day too long. So now you're telling me you've been, because also this same character that got eaten out then went to go and bath afterwards. So that item had been cooking for at least a week. From historical context, we can say at least a week.
Hey, okay.
Week-old coochie in your mouth? That's kind of brave, dog. That's all I'm saying. Guys, look up Kev on stage and you'll see what he was talking about. Like, to me, it's just kind of, yeah. And you think about how much unprotected sex in all of those scenes that we see in Game of Thrones. Bro, how are people? This is how all of you guys were dying and shit early, and it's like, how on earth did Jaehaerys and whoever die? It's like, yeah, because
just got sick.
This man's a day. These man's a day. They didn't know. There was no news. There were no New Start.
There were no scientists. There were no
in Westeros. Is it New Start or New Life? You win.
New Start Center.
Exactly. Those items didn't exist in Westeros. So like. This is why also dropping dead like fly. If it's not war, it was day. And we know why. Because they were putting their mouths in very unsanitary places. Like, that's just... That's just hectic. But anyway, Mr. Moy, you'll catch up, you watch the episode, and you'll understand the full context.
I'll watch it. I can't believe that's like your main takeaway from
listen, it's Kev who brought it up, and I was like, but you know what? It is...
So you think it was... Do you think it was taboo for... Can't believe we're going there with this. Do you think eating out back in the day was taboo because it was unsanitary, or just because people were like,
I think
Like,
it's
like-
just because number one, you're trying to protect your people, and it is unsanitary. Because if people are bathing once a week, if that, like, it just recontextualized the entire series for me, because I was like, how many of these guys stink right now? Like, that's just because I was just like, bro, like going a day without bathing, God forbid 2 days, like that's like the absolute like max. 3 days no bathing is
and then
Whoa.
you'd have about Jon Snow. They would be on horses for 3, 4, 5 days.
bruh.
Then they'd go fight other people, then kill.
You've
and
been
all
swinging a
these
sword,
things.
expending energy, so you've been sweating. And how many of those seeds do they go from the battlefield and then straight to, Winterfell, drinking or eating or whatever? There's no like scenes, because you see the odd scene of Umutekes, you're like, oh yeah.
By a river.
So it's hey, listen, man, this is it makes a lot of sense why there were all these plagues and different sicknesses, because it just was not hygienic. As a king, I understand banning your people from eating that thing, because fam, it's not good for you.
Can't
It's not,
be.
It's like they say, again, I don't eat any seafood, but there's certain seafood that it has to be eaten on the spot, otherwise it'll kill
Yeah.
you. You know, so same policy, Mr. Man.
Yeah, no, ngiyakuzwa Maphosa, ngiyakuzwa. The takeaway from this, ladies and gentlemen, is please go bath, please shower.
Yeah. No. Guess that
otherwise-
thing. Guess that thing, man. It's there's nothing worse than a overly ripe privates. I think that's the only way to put it, man. So yeah, y'all be safe out there, be clean out there. But Mr. Moy, I have a question for you.
Yep.
6 salaries or 12? If your employer came to you and said, Senna, we can pay you whatever your salary is. If Senna makes 10,000 rand, just as an example, per month,
Mm-hmm.
and they say we can give you your year's salary in 6 months, so we'll pay you 20k for 6 months, or we'll pay you 12 for Lokuzen, for 10k for 12 months, as per usual.
It depends on the year. Like, I think this year I would have appreciated my pay in 6 months. Only because, even last year actually, because when you're getting married and you're doing all these things.
But do you know
have
it's
like
dangerous?
No, it is dangerous. So that's what I'm saying. It depends on the year.
But
Ordinarily,
even what you're saying, like you had the wedding and even this year moving or all that other shit, right? Like there's been things that have needed higher upfront costs. But then the problem is if you're getting paid times 2, right?
Yeah.
It's a very slippery slope, because you from July you're on your own, fam. July to December is late. Right?
Yeah.
And if you've
That's so-
overspent and because it was comfortable for you and XXX thing, you needed this, there will always be, people will always have justifications for money, right? I think it's very rare that you find someone who's like, oh yeah, I just spent the money for the sake of spending it. We always find a quote unquote good reason to spend money. So now, I don't know, I feel like the way I am, I would sooner like, Chief, let me figure out another plan. And let me just get it, across a year, because it'll feel good, but you need to be extremely disciplined. The reason I bring this up is I saw a clip of a podcast where Anthony Davis, who plays for the Lakers, was talking about, they were asking about pay in the NBA, like how does it work? And he was like, yeah, not a lot of people know this, but apparently in the NBA, you can ask for your money, your contract. So if you're due 30 million, you can get that 30 million in 6 months. Or you can get it over 12 months, as per usual. So he was like, usually if the players who are financially stable will say, yeah, run me my money in 6 months. Because they know by the time that the summer hits and the rest of the year, they're still good. They have a spending plan where they're not worried. But then if you are living check to check, it could get very tricky. Or if your spending is very, very high, and then all of a sudden, instead of getting $5 million, you're getting $10 million a month, you are in a position to overspend very, very, very recklessly.
If you don't have that discipline.
Exactly. Especially now, it's not just our measly salaries; it's now millions of dollars, right? You can get yourself into some real trouble. So I thought it was a very interesting concept, and I wonder, like, could that translate to more of normal life, right? Not outside of the NBA. Do you think that is something that could work in general in our professional lives for companies to be like, yeah, we actually have the option to pay you double your salary but for 6 months?
Yeah. So I know there are companies who actually offer that. There
Really?
are companies who offer, not like if you're like your contractual terms, if they're flexible.
Yeah.
Some tech companies will be like, oh, okay, no, we are very flexible in terms of payments. You know, we want to make sure we do it the way you'd like. How would you like it? Okay. Would you like us to pay you once every 2 months? Would you like us? I know someone who once got a lump sum of their salary for like 6 months because the company was doing something. They're like, actually, bambala nansi mali yako. And then you had to basically pay yourself. So that's what they did. It just needs,
Insane.
it can work.
6 months salary.
Yeah, it can work. It just needs discipline, like high discipline, where you know yourself, okay, I have a separate account. So you put in a separate account and then you say, right, this is my cost of living. This is my spending money. This is my savings. And then boom.
Nah, I think I would have to give it to my wife. I just, I just like give me what I need on a monthly basis. Because I think even
What would you do?
realistically, even for her, right? Because I think when the money is yours and you know you don't have to speak to anyone, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to make funny decisions. Whereas if both my wife and I said, okay, we're gonna get our salaries 6 months up front, I would sooner be like, you give me your money, and then each time you need that money, if it's beyond what you need on a monthly basis, you explain to me, right? And then hopefully there's that extra stop of, nah, that's not a good enough reason to be taking out the money. We would be each other's kind of ops with that money. That's something that I think can work. But just to, Senna, you can put it in as many secret accounts of yours as you have. But for as long as you have access to that money.
No, of course.
You know, you're gonna, like, you're a smart person. Your brain knows the Senna. It knows itself, right? So it knows what to tell you and what to feed you. It's just like when as soon as you get paid, all of a sudden Uber Eats is like, hey, yo. All of a sudden it's like, I'm craving Nando's. You know, like all these different, like there've been these memes, right? Like the day before payday, you're fine with even fasting. You know, you're fine
I
with
know
ramen.
what you mean. Like,
And then as soon as you get that message, you say click click, and it's like, what the fuck is ramen? Ew, get that away from me, fam. Like my tastes have changed. So I think it's a very, very, I don't know, man. I'm not in a. It was weird though. In the US, what I found to be very, very cool when I got my first job is that you get paid twice a month, 1st and 15th. So I thought that was really, really good. I was like, oh, okay, and I like.
So
that.
it's not monthly.
Every 2 weeks. No, it's not monthly. Every 2 weeks we were getting paid.
So it's like back in the day with like mine workers, they used to get paid a weekly wage. So Friday, Ziakala. No, there's a song by Soul Brothers about this guy who every Friday Tinjalo ngolwesihlanu kabuya endlini mayirholile. Esikila mkhuba. I think that's the name of the song. So the song is about this husband who every Friday he doesn't come home. He gets money and then he just goes and he drinks it away. So there's different ways of being paid. I don't know what's the most ideal. I prefer the monthly, to be honest, because it's just what I've always known, and it's just easier when your employer helps you budget.
Okay. Yeah, no, bi-weekly is dope. I think it's a nice one. Let me see, what do I miss? Okay, right. View once. This is really funny. So I got, my wife hit me with a hezi, bro. She hit me with a. Do you know what a hezi? You know what I mean when I say hezi?
I don't know what a hezi is. What's a hezi?
It's like it's a basketball term, but I'd say in football, would say it's a dummy.
Okay.
Dummy. Yeah. Dummy is the best way to, you know, you're running hard for, you see Ronaldo's about to get the ball and you're running hard to tackle him, and he just lets it go past him. Now you look like his tutor. because the ball is now in another person's hands. So
Yeah.
so anyway, so she hit me with a hezzy. That pissed me off, bro. We were texting about whatever, something random, right? I'm at work, and then I get a notification from WhatsApp.
I can already tell where this is going.
Wifey sent a message. I'm like, okay, and then I see photo. And I'm like, usually it says, attachment or whatever. I don't know, but you can tell, right? You can tell that this one is not like the rest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, and again, it's not even like we were having any sort of conversation that would lean towards that. So I was like, oh, you freaky girl, I see you, man. Like I'm literally so chilling in the office. I see that item. I see photo. I'm like, photo. Okay, jump in the chat. I'm like, let's go. Check the coast. Left, right again. Center, upstairs. Like, okay. Brightness 100% to just 2%. And I'm like, all right, let's see what's in the inbox. I tap the item. It pops open. Nigga, she sent me a picture of her breakfast. It was eggs, isinkwa, and avocado. No, I don't think there was bread. I think it was just eggs and avocado, scrambled eggs and avocado.
Well, that was underwhelming.
I don't even know what to say. Like I was like, bro, like I'm glad it was view once because like I don't have to ever see that shit again. But I was pissed, bro. I literally, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is not what view once is for. It's not what WhatsApp said. View. This is the equivalent of those people on Instagram. I'm follow close friends to share recipes. Like, no, close friends is not. Close friends is the wild shit. If I see that green circle around your name, I'm excited because I'm like, yo, this is something that Senate does not want the public to see. What is this thing? What is this state secret that is with me and whoever else is a close friend? That's how I felt. And I was just sitting there and I was just like, hey, you know that the TikTok of that hand who does the Jamaican item? You look like idiot. I know, but that's how I felt.
Anticipation.
So this is just the public service announcement.
Everything,
bro. The excitement was palpable. Like,
but then I would argue, Uguti, why would your excitement be palpable?
Because it's just,
if my wife sent me something,
it's just,
view once,
well,
because I don't know, why would it be view once? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's obvious.
But
it's obvious. Yeah, which
there
is
shouldn't be a
what?
need
Like,
to make it view once.
Nah, I mean, in this day and age of people getting hacked and whatever, I can understand. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a little tease. Because also, it's like, she doesn't know who's next to you, whatever. All these are, like, you know what I mean? So, like, I can understand why, even in a committed relationship, you send it as a view once. It's just, hey, I was being a little naughty, you know what I mean? And just wanted to give you a little young kind of, when you get home, Ziakala. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking, like I was like, NH. Like, I was ready, bro. And avocado, and anyone who knows me is that I despise avocado. So it was even worse. It was a double punch to the gut. No. Ladies, please don't do this thing. Don't like. Someone even made a TikTok about this very thing. So let's not abuse what view once means. I think universally we all understand. In a relationship, we all understand what view once means. So let's not
play silly games.
Yeah, let's not play these games and or just give me a heads up. Baby, I made breakfast, and then okay, fine. It's like it can lead. Here's a picture of my breakfast. Okay, it's all right, cool. It is what it is. Then at least the excitement never, happens. It's just breakfast, right? You've already told me what's coming, but just to plant it right there, like just from left field, you know, to Johan Cruyff the item, and then no, please.
Okay.
Sing adlali njalo. It's very painful, this thing. Now people are wondering why my eyes are like bloodshot red.
Kalelani, what's wrong?
Oh man, no, that derby was quite painful.
Powerful.
Not gonna lie. But Mr. Boy, we have a siyazama here that was written. This person wanted you particularly to speak on this subject.
Oh yeah, I think I saw this.
They wanted to know, and this was a great talking point actually. Hey guys, can I get Sana to commentate on how much the US knocking Pakistan out of the T20 World Cup is? Do we care? Is it significant?
We care. It's very significant. In terms of cricketing nations, cricket is a big sport, but it's a very small sport. So it's big in the sense that it's the second most watched sport in the world. But it's also small.
It's the what?
It's the second most watched sport in the world.
No way.
I think so.
Nah, can't be.
I think it is.
Yeah, can't be.
What do you mean it can't be? I think Google and verify this.
No, Kuluma, I'll do the Googling.
Okay, so it's okay. Second not, it's one of the most popular sports in the world.
Okay.
I think I tweeted something along these lines. Remember when we did history and Mr. Spanda taught us about US isolationism? Mm-hmm. Way back in the day, I think in 1912, their
Holy
president.
shit! It is cricket.
Yeah. So it's no, but that's. I don't know why you're surprised. Side note.
Like tennis, golf, and basketball. Like
cricket has the second biggest World Cup after football. I think. Like if you look at the countries,
because also cricket games are long, you know, so it's like
but then what's big with cricket is it's very big in Asia. So like India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and then it's also big but it's very big in Australia, New Zealand, and then it's also very big in Southern Africa.
Yeah,
and all those regions have like insane populations, especially
Asia.
Yeah, Asia, or India, like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan. So
I am so shocked.
Yeah, man, it's a big sport. So, in terms of like the strength of the teams,
2.5 billion fans.
Yeah, of which a huge chunk of them probably come from India and those regions.
India's doing a lot of heavy lifting there, bro. Because,
but I think India,
that's actually insane.
India, and it's the main sport in Australia. It's very big in England, but to an extent where it's you got 9 big teams. Zim used to be there, but now it's just 9. And there were it was India, Australia, England. Then you had the second.
Zim is in and out.
Sorry,
you can say Zim is in and out. Like they've got periods where they get their shit together.
Of course, but I don't think they're there anymore. They used to be top 10 cricketing nation. Now they can't even. They're not even at this World Cup. They weren't at the last one. And it's not even because of sanctions. Then Kudala are sitting on sanctions. City, Mali, Qatar, they just didn't qualify. Then you look at it. So you got India, England, Australia. Those are like your big 3. Then you've got the next batch, which is South Africa, New Zealand, and Pakistan, which are like the next sort of tier where cricket is serious, but maybe they don't have as much investment as the top 3. And then the next group is West Indies, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and then you would in the past have Zimbabwe there as well. USA has never participated in our global sports, be it rugby, be it cricket. They only play basketball in the Olympics. That's when they come and, that's the one thing they take seriously in the global platform. Football, they will, to some extent. But them winning this is big because it means that cricket can actually start growing in the States. And I always say that once America starts taking the sports that England and all these other countries take seriously, they will dominate. It's just that they're not there, and it'll grow. I think you have a lot of parents nowadays who don't want their kids to play, NFL.
But Mr. Moy, it's a very obvious one in terms of why America is growing, right? With regards to these sports that they typically were losers in, right? Or not interested in. It's it's globalization. It's how many people have immigrated to or migrated to
the
America.
States. You reckon?
Over the last 10, 15 years. Yeah.
You don't think it's now an effort? Because I look at their cricket team.
No, bro.
They've got
pull
a guy.
Pull up their cricket team.
They've got a
it's
guy.
All
it's
South Asians.
Yeah,
in there.
it's like there's a guy bowling here. His surname is Singh. There's the other guy who was bowling. He looks like he's from Pakistani descent. And then whenever I watch their football team, it's about Hernandez, Nabo Gutierrez, and I'm like, I'm not sure if it's globalization or they're now making an effort to scout talent worldwide, and then like actually come play for the States, and then you're good.
Yeah, but it's both, right? In the sense that like now they have, because a lot of these guys are of Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi descent. So if those families are migrating to the US, obviously if Senna's family moves to America, they still love soccer, right?
Yeah.
So when Senna is growing, your dad is still going to instill a love for soccer in you, and then now you have resources behind you and also lower barriers of competition, because now in Zim trying to compete as a soccer star, whereas in this US where the football isn't that high up, or there's other money makers like the NFL and the NBA, then Senna has a much more realistic chance. Like I know at least 4 people who are either in the MLS or about to be in the MLS. I don't know one going to the Prem. You know what I mean? Like I don't. This is people I have direct relationships with, right? So now when those families do move, like it's not going to be shocking that at the end of the day, it is a bunch of Indian, Pakistani, and whatever other guys. And like when the US rugby team popped on the scene, there was not this World Cup, but I think the World Cup before, or there was a game or a tournament. I can't remember what it was. They had this electric guy on the field called Tafats or something, who was just dominating, right? Some miser, and and that's just how the US wins, even with their sprinting. A lot of these guys have Jamaican roots, right? Like it's like so. America is really just there is no such thing as an American, right?
Yeah.
Like because all of them, it's a country of immigrants,
Yeah.
on all levels, historical immigrants, and then the new guys.
Even the white
as well.
people are immigrants.
So. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like with the US, I'm not surprised. It's always going to be funny to see, someone with the last name Ndlovu and they're American representing America. It's like that's weird. That's funny. But I get it. But that's who America is at this point, and good for them because now they're going to challenge on quite a lot of fronts. I think America is going to dominate in sports over time if they do invest in the crickets, in your rugbies, in their soccer. They're going to get better and better and better because all these different Nigerian families that have been moving over the last 5 years, all locals in, it's only because there's not that much money in American soccer. If America decided to pump the Premier League equivalent of dollars into their league, bro, and then all of that talent, because all the best talent still leaves the US and wants to play in Europe.
And
it comes to soccer.
But they're a very huge country, which is something that Europe doesn't really have.
If America was serious, they could become the global football power in terms of the league. The MLS really could crush the Premier League because they have the economy for it and they have the scale for it. It's just that right now, America is still eating well off of the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, and the other leagues, right? But if they really wanted to shift the focus, they could, because now all of that talent, that is being born and bred in America. If kids growing up were like, listen, I want to play for the the New York FC, Manchester City, is that them? That they own, right? If kids grew up and said they want to play for that because they can make $100 million in career earnings or $500 million in career earnings, and there's no need to go to England, there's no need to go to Italy or Spain, bro, it could get very competitive very quickly.
Yep.
It's just that there's no money.
Yeah.
Right. So if my son is a prodigy, I'm not sending him to America if he's a footballing prodigy.
Yeah.
Right. But if he's a basketballing prodigy, 100%, bro. I will stick it out. I'll move to America, even though I don't want to live there. I'll go because I'll be like, listen, I'm setting this nigga up for life.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a very interesting thing to see, even with the Olympics. Okangele. Look at the names of the people who will be wearing US apparel.
Team
Who to know
US. Yeah, and look,
to me, exactly. It's
I
going
think
to be very fun.
after the next World Cup, right? I think the next one is in the States, 2020, 2026
football?
Yeah, the football World
Yeah,
Cup.
it's I think it's
US, Canada, Mexico.
US, Canada, and Mexico. Yeah.
I think after that, because I think after '94 when they hosted it like the first time, there was a huge growth in terms of the people who played football. I think if they hype their World Cup proper, and I don't mean I mean like hype in terms of celebrities, politicians, they're all like showing up and making it as, you know, as American as it can be. I think you'll have a whole generation of kids who'll grow up wanting to be the next CR7, wanting to be the next Messi, the next Neymar, the next whoever.
I think they just, I don't know. I think it's less so influences, and I'd say more so the money. If more money can be in MLS, that will attract talent from the same way. Because look at Saudi, right? There's no celebrities in Saudi, but they just like, right, Kante, here's a bag. Neymar, here's a bag. Ronaldo, here's a bag. You know what I mean? Like, they have the economy to do that, and just say, if enough of these guys pull up, we will have a competitive league. You know, we'll eventually build one at the end of the day. And it's true. Like, that's maybe I'll take a look at the Saudi league in 5 years and let's see, you know, because if they continue doing this type of stuff, overpaying for talent, at some point it will turn into a competitive league, because people are going to want to get paid, especially people that are they might not be Premier League great, but just a step below. Like, if you're going to pay them like a Premier League player, like, that's a semi-decent product, and then now throw in some bona fide stars. Now the football is watchable. Now there's entertainment. Like, hey, listen, it's definitely you know, something that I think can work. But we will need to keep an eye on it and see what the kuzo hambanjani. But I think, yeah, Mr. Moyo, we are at the end, at the close of this particular installment of this podcast.
No, it's good, it's nice. It's good, it's nice. It's good, it's nice.
I think siyazama.
Yes,
guys, you were in for 1 hour less than, actually.
It was actually
you were in for 57 minutes.
53 minutes.
But you know,
One
things
more
worked out in your favor.
before we go.
Yeah.
You saw that guy who dumped his fiancée after she went to the Chris Brown nonsense.
Oh. Yeah, I did. I think that was
And
extra
then
as well.
Nat had
Come
the
on.
audacity to be like, hey, y'all are strict AF. I'm like, how? Ngama strict nge mental health kabani.
Oh man. No, for real.
I wonder how many relationships
Yeah,
have been
was
shaken by that whole meet and greet with CB.
No, I think I think that one isn't too bad. I think it's Chris Brown. Me, I'll give it a disc. I'll be like, let's say it's Chris Brown. It is what it is. You know,
I would say it's the nature
just,
of the picture. Some of them girls be wilding.
But I think they were whining because they probably weren't in relationships or whatever, right? It's like, you know, because I don't know if Beyonce was like, come in and get a hug, like some of your niggas would be holding on for dear life, right? So I don't know. So it's that particular thing. I was like, some of these guys were a little bit extra. They were a little bit extra, but anyway. Oh yeah, there was this funny article from ENCA. South African men prefer a hot cup of rooibos over any other beverage. It even ties with beer at social occasions. This according to the latest men's drinking habits survey.
Well, that survey, I mean, I've never gone. I've lived in South Africa now for full time for 11 years. I have never visited any one of my South African friends, gents, and been offered a cup of tea. Granted, I don't drink tea, but I've never even seen these niggas drink tea. I don't even know if they like tea. All I hear.
I think.
Do you want a beer?
The best tweet that I saw, I think, was from Kanye. So where he said, "Was this survey done in the presence of their wives?" And I think that's a very important question to ask, because I was like, tea.
100%.
I mean, I get it. Listen, as a born and raised SDA child, we love our rooibos tea. Now, like us and rooibos, it's in the Bible, right? So I understood. Like, rooibos is good. Like, I can, I'm not gonna challenge that. But still, to say favorite bev of choice, I don't know. I need to see who exactly was polled, what's the age, what's their mental or their physical health. Like, there's a lot of factors that need to go into a said investigation.
But sometimes people lie on surveys, and as if they think they're being watched or monitored, but they lie. Sometimes people say it's an anonymous survey, like, anonymous survey.
Well,
what is your name?
I looked up, as of 2023, the most watched sporting events in the world. So obviously, number one is the FIFA World Cup.
Yep.
5 billion viewers. Can you guess number two, Mr. Moss?
Super Bowl?
Nope. The Super Bowl is number 8.
Okay. I'm surprised and not surprised, because I don't know, they always say it's the most. I don't know, Americans like to lie when they come into public, and then I'm always like,
no, they do. They
like,
do
this
a lot. So it is the most famous American event, but it's sitting at number 8.
Then they hype it and say it's the greatest of all time. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. Sporting events. So you got the FIFA World Cup. I say
Senna, give me something.
I'm tempted to say the Cricket World Cup final, because last year I know India and Australia drew record numbers.
Cricket World Cup was at 2.6 billion views, and that landed it at number 3.
Whoa!
So you have the World Cup at number
Football World
1,
Cup, Cricket World Cup,
cricket at number 3.
I don't think.
So what's number
I don't
2?
think it's the NBA, because the NBA I think is below the NFL.
NBA is number 10.
Boom. The Olympics?
Really? Olympics? That's a good choice, but Olympics is they don't even list it here. I guess the Summer Games would be Olympics, so that's number 5.
Oh, what's second?
Senna, come on, give me any other sport. Just think, be creative. Think of random sports.
Basketball, rugby, golf, hockey, swimming.
Nope.
Tennis.
Nope.
Is it tennis?
Nope. Tennis. Wimbledon is at number 9.
Yo. It's
What
not
else?
baseball.
I know you've done this, maybe not as a sport, but you've definitely done this for pleasure as a kid.
For pleasure as a kid.
How did you get to Junior's house
Cycling.
on average? Yes.
People watch cycling?
The Tour de France, 3.5 billion viewers, sitting at number 2.
Who sits down and watches the Tour de France? Those, no pun intended, seem like juiced up numbers.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked too. So it's the top 15 of 2023. So World Cup, Tour de France, Cricket World Cup.
Ain't no way.
Women's World Cup
Ain't
at
no
number 4.
way.
Shout out to the ladies. So Women's World Cup at number 4, the Olympics at number 2, the Winter Olympics at number 6. Oh my God, Olympics at number 5, Winter Olympics at number 6, UEFA Champions League final at number 7, the Super Bowl at number 8, the Wimbledon at number 9, the NBA Finals number 10, the Rugby World Cup 11, Kentucky Derby 12, the Masters 13, the World Series baseball at 14, and finally the NCAA Final 4 at 15. Those are the most popular sporting events of 2023.
Ain't no way. Tour de France.
Tour de France, fam.
Who watches the Tour de France? I don't think I know a single person who watches the Tour de France. Like at least with some sports. Like I know you watch the NBA finals. I know
Yeah.
there's people who watch. I know people who watch the NFL Super Bowl. I know people who watch Wimbledon. Like personally. And even with some sports, like rugby, bakhona abantu were like, oh, okay, cool. You may not watch it, but I know someone who does. I know enough people who do. Speaking Johnny Tour de France, I don't know one person.
So this is the criteria. They went they looked at three things. Number one, TV viewership, including streaming. Number two, the duration of the viewership and peak viewership levels. And number three, the most recent event. So this is all 2023 stuff. So maybe different things were different. Like in 2022, it's a completely different order for some other things. But this is as of last year. These were the numbers. I am pleasantly surprised the Women's World Cup is top 5. I'm shocked that the Olympics are that low.
I'm not.
But technically, if you merge Winter and Summer Olympics, it's 4 billion viewers, which puts it at number 2, which would make more sense.
Yeah, and I think
But
Olympics, I mean, I don't really watch the Olympics. I only watch like a few events. I watched all the track events.
Yeah, I watch the sprinting and some of the
maybe
sports,
if there's
like football and
swimming, maybe if there's swimming and
swimming.
you know,
I watched the Michael Phelps era. I watched
Kirsty
for
Coventry
Kirsty
era, yeah.
when she was there. So like, I think it's carried. The Olympics is carried by personalities, right? So like, I'm sure Olympics would have been number 1 or very close
If
to number
Usain
1
Bolt.
in the Usain Bolt
Yeah.
era. Like, I would want to see the London Olympics viewership.
do you even know who holds the
London.
thingy? Do you even know who holds the gold medal for the 100 meters? That Italian, I don't even know his name. The Italian guy.
What to tell you?
The Italian guy who won thingy. Who won the
So-
gold medal the last Olympics?
BBC, but the BBC is just saying they're saying 51.9 million, but I think that's just in the UK.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just
There we go. 4.8 billion viewers for the London Olympics.
4.8 billion.
Yeah, 4.8 billion, which would put them just behind the World Cup, which had 5 billion viewers.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, because I know
So
I
that
know
was-
people
'cause I
watch the
know-
Olympics.
they were. I don't know, that era was unmatched. I think you have to have a personality. You have to have big names that people are interested in. Let me see what World Cup did in 2012. Okay, yeah. So in 2012, 3.5 billion viewers. In 2012, yeah. So you've
Which
gone
is
from
big.
2012 3.5 to now, which is 5 billion. 2022 World Cup was at 5 billion, which is insane in Qatar. But anyway, guys, let's wrap it up here. Now I'm hungry. It's dinner time. So
No, it's good. It's
we-
nice. It's
we
good. It's
gave
nice.
people the things. This is almost 2 hours of the things. So it should hold y'all down for a little bit. Guys, shout us out. Let us know what one. Add us at 6 Foot Weights on Twitter or email us. I think Mr. Moy is checking our emails now. If not, Lindo is. If not, I am. So we will shout you out if we have any more emails coming through from you guys. But otherwise, the podcast is trending. The podcast is growing. It's better than ever. And you know, it's you guys to thank for it. All is trending, and we see it in the numbers. Specifically Zim, and Zim's had an uptick for us, which is really, really cool to see. So yeah,
We
shout
give
out to y'all,
thanks.
shout out to y'all. And with that, as you know, Like the thing. Oh yeah, likes have disappeared now, guys. So really, don't like the thing. Retweet when we post the pod. Yeah, the likes are hidden. Nobody knows you've liked it. So, don't like the thing. Retweet the thing. And if you don't, we're inclined to believe that you're a hater. Mr. Moore?
Ladies.